Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to add highlights to your drawings in Artflow specifically. Adding highlights is definitely my favorite part of the drawing process. I just find it really enjoyable. And here is how I would generally do mine in Artflow. So let's get started. I made a layer above the layer that I have all these colors on. And what you're going to want to do is settings by clicking on it. Then go into blend mode. You can choose either lighten, screen, or overlay. I'll show you how both of them look. So once you get overlay, you can lower the opacity of the layer a bit, which is what I tend to do. Then click the tick just so that it stays, otherwise your settings won't count as saved. And then what you're going to want to do is go to your base color of whatever thing that you want to highlight, and have a usually slightly lighter version of the color that you want to highlight. Then make your brush whatever brush type and size you want. I'll just be sticking with the normal charcoal brush that I use for most of my videos on Artflow. And then just highlight where you think the light would be. Of course, it doesn't always have to be completely accurate to where the shadows and light would be if you want to experiment artistically. But usually you would consider where the light is, and where the light would be hitting the most is where the highlight would be the most. You can also lower the opacity and go like this and sort of keep adding it until it gets to where the light would be the most. So it's kind of like a DIY airbrush sort of thing. Of course, you can also use the airbrush for this if you want to. Then going on to here, if we still used the green, then the highlights would look completely different. Sometimes it wouldn't even have an effect on certain colors. Usually a good highlight color is a yellow or a red. So a light yellow like this will go over most colors. It should be noted sometimes colors just won't work, so you might have to go with just straight up a white. And even then, sometimes layers might refuse, or certain colors might refuse to have these work properly because of the blending layers. And even then, some colors might just not work with the color that you've chosen, or with the blending mode that you have going on. So in that situation, I would personally make another new layer, and from here we can try out screen. I will lower the opacity a little bit again, and you will see that screen does work on here with just a white. It also works with the lighter versions of the colors too, although it has a much gentler feel to it instead of the vibrance of an overlay layer. Usually in drawing apps I would recommend using the add blending mode, but Artflow does not have an add blending mode. So for here, using screen for certain colors would be a good bet. Like here, this red only really reacted to a screen on a light red. Or using the overlay if you want some nice popping colors, which is what I would typically do since I really like the feel of how bright this is. But then to actually put this into practice, okay, so here I've done a super quick doodle and roughly colored in some hair, and we're going to shade the hair with these highlights. So I've made a layer above the hair. We're going to set it to overlay for this one. Lower the opacity a bit, press the tick. And then we can use the same color that we used for the hair since it's a pretty light color. And now I basically want you to... And now going on the line art layer, just so that I can show you what I mean when I do this, we're going to imagine where the light is coming from. So the light could be coming from over here, or over here, or over here. And depending on where it's coming from, we would shade it in different ways. For example, if the light is coming from over here, then you would have these areas be the lightest because they are closest to where the light is coming from. And then these areas over here would be the darkest. The darker areas aren't going to be highlighted because highlights are meant to just show that somewhere is lighter and closer to the light. If it was coming from over here, then we would have the places over here be highlighted like this. And then these areas over here that are further away just be a lot darker. The same works for any direction. For this, I'm going to be doing over here since this is the basic, usual light that you would expect. So here's where the light is coming from, and we will start highlighting in accordance to that. Since the light is coming from over here, I'll be highlighting around here. It should also be worth noting that you can absolutely use just a much closer to white color, which looks pretty nice too. So the light is coming from here, so I'll be highlighting like this. This is a lot of really dramatic highlighting, and usually when I do it by myself, I will just make a few small spots like this. I also like to do some backlighting, so if there is light right behind this, then I will just very gently go around the edges here with some of the highlight, and then you can blur that out if you want to. And then if we try doing this with the screen blending mode instead, it would have a much more whitish effect. And that is how I do my highlights in Artflow, specifically with the hair since I find that easiest to show. Thank you very much for watching, I hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, consider supporting. Bye!